Hello everyone, my name is Inque. Welcome to the Ink Storm. It's been a really long fucking time, but here we are again. Because there are things to talk about. Joining me for this 18-part series is a very special guest. Hello.
Hello. I'm special. I'm Awfulwaful, also known as Ari, and I am Inque's wife.
The wife thing.
Usually.
And we are going to be talking about the animated compilation series on Netflix called Love, Death, and Robots, which has attracted a fair amount of attention. And yes, we have thoughts about this, which we will hopefully entertain you with over the course of this series. Going to be taking each episode as it comes. And be aware, if you have not seen this or have but are just interested in hearing what we have to say, and you're watching it on Netflix, your episode order may not be the same as ours. For some reason, Netflix decided to vary it up, so some people have a different episode order.
Well, it's an anthology, so there's no need to watch them in any particular order. I'm not sure why they decided to do it this way, but it's not like it's necessary.
No, it's just I know I, for one, get annoyed when I discover things in a different order from what I expect, so if you're confused, that's why. Either way, we are going to be starting off with what is for us episode 1, Sonnie's Edge, which is a charming little episode where we get to watch a woman remote controlling a giant stompy monster in what my brain immediately terms cyber grunge, near future gladiatorial arena stuff, and things happen. We're not going to go into full episode synopses because I figured that if you're interested in this, then you can watch the episode yourself. But that is the premise. That should remind you of which one we're talking about.
Yeah, for what it's worth, for people who are interested in seeing the series but are not sure if they should, they've heard mixed things. I've seen a lot of people who have said things like that on like Twitter and Tumblr. A couple things. One, trigger warnings for intense gore, violence. Not in all the episodes, but in a lot of them. Sexual assault, almost entirely against women. I don't consider getting kicked in the dick a sexual violence, but there's that happens as well if you're squeamish about that, which I do understand because I hear that's fucking painful. But I think that especially for folks who are interested in animation, interested in dissecting media, interested in any kind of art form, really. Not even necessarily like you have to be an animator or whatever. It's worth it always to. There are some things that I'm just like, no, skip it. But it's worth it even for things that are not your cup of tea to watch and dissect to figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you think works, what you think doesn't work, all that jazz. To add to your brain space and help you make cooler things in life, or dissect better media better. Just my opinion. So yeah, watch it if you can stomach those things. If you can't, don't fucking sweat it. It's totally fine.
My takeaway from the series was effectively that while the overall quality was variable, it's a severely uneven series, even within a lot of the episodes. There wasn't a boring premise in any of them. Some were underused, but all of them tried something interesting.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
almost all. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, go on.
I was going to say that like I there wasn't a single one, even the really silly ones that we'll get to later, that had very minimal kind of art styles. Even those like were lovingly created by artists and are just gorgeous to look at for various reasons, either technologically or visually.
Yeah, it's a very pretty series.
Yeah.
It is very visually striking.
Even the one I've seen people complain about because they're like, it's not animation. I'm just like, all right, look, we're gonna have a talk, but we'll get to that one. We'll get to it.
I mean, in many ways, Sonnie's Revenge is a really good opener. I don't know if it's the opener for all the.
Sonnie's Revenge is the fucking
Sonnie's Edge.
It's the alternate title they didn't use.
Yeah, well, but it's got a really nice blend of you open on this very grungy, near future kind of cityscape, and then you zoom in and it all becomes very neon, and you can definitely tell that it's all CG, but it's really, really well done. It's an absolutely gorgeous opener, and the monsters themselves are just beautiful.
Yeah. I have seen a couple people complain about the uncanny valley of some of these, and this one definitely is more towards the realism side of things, and that is kind of wigging some people out.
Yeah,
I didn't really have a problem with it. I actually didn't really have a problem with any of them, to be honest. There's others that are way more realistic looking, and I didn't have any problems with Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, one of the later episodes, Ice Age, I genuinely had moments where I wasn't sure that it was animated.
Well, I think that might have been biased just because you were kind of expecting everything to be animated. I had that too, right up until like I started seeing the tiny movements of the people, like that you don't see in animation because they take up too much time and they're really hard to animate. It's just little things that you can't get in a program.
That wasn't animated, was it?
No, well, no. The inside of the we'll get to that one.
Yes,
we'll get to that one.
that's for way later on. Anyway, I'm probably going to cut some of that out, to be honest.
No, leave it in. Leave it all in. Just fucking leave it. We're ramblers here. It'll get less over time, but anyway, let's move on to Sonnie's Edge specifically.
Yes. That's a vague, rambly take on the entire series. Let's talk about the episode itself. So, needless to say, from here on, spoiler warnings. All the spoiler warnings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we should have put that at the beginning. Spoilers, motherfuckers. Just spoilers all over the place.
So, I mean, my personal take on Sonnie's Edge is that this could have been just fantastic, like one of the best episodes of the entire series, if they didn't just suddenly throw in, and here's some rape for some backstory.
Yeah, well, okay, so I think it is one of the best, definitely in my top 5.
Agreed, yeah.
But, yeah, it's even... So here's the other... We watched it all the way through last night.
I pretty much marathoned it.
We marathon. I was just like, oh, hey, this is something people have been wanting me to watch, and I watched it, and I got to like episode 3. Told Inque that she needed to watch at least Sonnie's Edge because it seemed very her aesthetic, and she decided to start watching them all, and I got ahead of her, but then we got to the end and we were just like, we really want to talk about this. And Sonnie's Edge is really kind of the reason this is happening in a way, because this one, a lot of them have really interesting things to talk about, but this one was so close to perfect, like you said, Inque. It did not need, even on the second viewing that we did right before we were talking about it now, just to make sure it's fresh in our memory. Like, I mean,
you heard me sighing when that particular clip came up.
Yeah, it did not need, like, the fact that a gang took her and cut her up like if
that's enough, and you don't even like. It was really really clumsy about how that exposition came across. Like the way that the two friends were handled just felt like sledgehammer writing, which was it annoyed me. That was, I mean, there's difficulties with writing short form fiction. God knows I hate writing short stories because of it. Because you need to find ways to convey information quickly without it being clunky, but yeah, that didn't work well. It really stands out in contrast to all the other scenes and the overall story itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it could have worked if they. Weirdly enough, I think that the rape thing it isn't just like, for lack of a better term, gross. It's also there to, not Jesus Christ, I can't English. It also weighs the exposition down, I think.
Yeah.
Because if it was just like, bitch, you see those scars on her face? Like, that came from a bunch of fuckers, and when she's in there, she's cutting those fuckers back up. Like, that's all you needed. Like,
yeah.
That would have made it so smooth, so sure. No, we had to add in that they raped her to, like, until they were bored first, and then decided to start cutting her up, which is, like, a level of brutality that is... Well, I get it. Like, the world is dark and gritty, but fucking Christ, like... Jeez, okay. It's one of those things that I have, like, I'm kind of back and forth on, because there are some stories where, like, full disclosure, I am a survivor of rape. I am a survivor of some pretty brutal shit myself. I don't have crazy rad ass face scars, but I've been through that, and I gotta go back and forth. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, leave rape out of all stories and it should never be brought up. And it's like, I don't think that's true. I don't even think that you can't joke about it, but there are ways to do it well, and there are ways to kind of not, and this really leaned heavily into not. This was not necessary. This did not do anything for the writing. This didn't do anything for the flow. This didn't do anything for the character, because quite literally the end of the episode is her sitting there going, it has nothing to do with the rape, so the rape was pointless. It could have just as easily been people confusing the fact that she was cut up and left for dead, and it wouldn't have like lowered the brutality anymore. And I bet you anything that if this character had been male, then it wouldn't have been a rape. It would have just been he got cut the shit up.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
Yeah, and it's kind of a reflection of a consistent problem throughout Love, Death, and Robots, which is the use of sexual violence as a cheap dramatic amplifier.
Yeah, well, it's either a dramatic amplifier or it's a titillation. It's like I made a small Twitter thread about this. Is that I really wish that it had leaned, the whole series, but especially this one. I wish it had leaned more heavily into the sci-fi short story serials that it was dipping into.
Yeah.
Than the heavy metal shit. The heavy metal was like eye-opening and just insane, and had some, for the time, really intensely good animation. But Jesus Christ, is it dated, and its effect on this anthology really fucking shows, and not in a good way. Like,
it's one of those things where you can.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
We keep talking to each other.
I'm sorry. It's out of love.
It's one of the things where I don't remember where I can't speak either. I don't remember where I read it. I think it was someone's comment on Twitter, but you can really tell that all the directors here were men.
I don't actually know that they were. I think I ended up looking this up, and I think they were either. I think there was either one man or one man with a name that looks like a woman's name, but I'm not honestly sure if it was a woman or not because all of the directors I found had, except for like two, I could find almost no information on. Although I didn't do a shit ton of research, and I'm going to be honest, I don't care up to a point. This is like if I wanted to go into an in-depth do all your shit, figure out this director's oeuvre and all this other fucking bullshit, I would. But to be honest, I am not a fan of that kind of thing unless the work is very intentionally a reflection of its creator, if that makes any sense. Otherwise, yeah. I want to take stories and media on their own merits for the most part. Nothing exists in a vacuum by any stretch of the imagination. But
yeah,
I don't care who the writer was. I don't care what gender they were. I don't fucking care. For the purpose of whether I liked the story or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean for references to the relationship of directors with their works, the Carl Colgram's work on video about oh god, what's his name? The Room.
Oh damn.
Tommy Wiseau?
Tommy Wiseau, yeah.
Auteur theory, which a lot of people whose experience and knowledge about films on YouTube I respect didn't think much of. But that's a different story. That's a different rant.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
in terms of lower level criticisms, it did feel like there was a bit of a cheat in there. Like there was some. The whole revelation that Sonnie is actually the monster didn't come completely out of nowhere. There was definitely the room put in there for it, and the fact that she herself was completely still during the fight, whereas the guy controlling the other one was stomping about and ranting, definitely played into that. But her friend, like it was basically stated that her friends were the ones who put her inside the monster, and if that's the case, then they seemed kind of blasé about the fight, and the little after fight dialogue that we had in the background just didn't really seem to fit with that. It just kind of felt like lazy writing for them.
I actually don't know that they did. I kind of wish I'd watched it with captions on because there was some of the accents that made some of the words a little difficult for me to understand, especially the first time through.
I wish Netflix with captions on, period.
Yeah, I should. I thought about doing that, and then I was like, not to worry. I've seen this once before. I'll catch it. And I forgot that I'm dyslexic as fuck. Yeah. You'd think I fucking remember shit like that. But yeah, I actually don't have that much of a problem with that, to be honest. Because if that's the case, then it's like the after talk is them going back and forth about the bone dagger thing that was that monster's name Turbo Raptor?
Yes, it was.
Okay, because it wasn't very fast and it was not a raptor, so I was a little confused, but fuck it.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, for carnivore though, that amused me.
Yeah, carnivore was good. But anyway, Turbo Raptor. Them kind of like they're celebrating, and them going back and forth on like was was the bone dagger legal? Well, it's made out of bone. It's like, yeah, but how did they fucking genetically engineer that shit? And then they break off into, you thought we were going to lose. I honestly don't have that much of a problem with that, just because the world is set up as looking like this is cyberpunk, this is dystopia, everything's brutal, and obviously this is what Sonnie wants to be doing. So she's, like her friends sitting there and supporting her in that, with the kind of like background and mentality, I'm fine with.
It's a minor quibble more than anything else, but hey, this is our chance to rant about shit, so that's my
no. That's totally fine. Sonnie's the backstory and stuff is kind of wobbly about what happens after the whole attack thing. But it's when you're writing short stories, in my opinion, there are, especially when you're writing short stories that have really only limited ways to set up the universe without it, without a character turning at the camera and going, and this is how the science works. You're gonna have shit dropped, like, where we don't have a clear understanding of, like, is she just projecting it into the body of Sonnie, or is, like, she really feeling like she's in the body of Sonnie when she's not, like, in her monster brain? Like, we don't know. We don't fucking know. And it doesn't really matter so much for the purposes of the story. I'm interested in the world. I'd love to flesh out the world. That seems fun. But for the purpose of the story, doesn't matter. And I'm rambling now, so...
Yeah, no, it's... What it really comes down to is it was a really interesting world, a really cool protagonist, a very clever twist, and a very satisfying ending. It was a really solid story, and I think probably sits as my second favorite from the series. But it has a few issues, and honestly, I mean, half of the reason why we're making this series is because I don't think there's a single episode which we won't have some complaint about.
You wanna know the stupidest thing that really gets me about Sonnie's Edge?
Mm-hmm.
The reason the rape thing really bothers me is because it's made very clear that Sonnie is interested in women.
That is...
From the beginning. That moment where she fucking looks at that girl and is like, yes, she is. Just like, the lesbian has appeared. It is really annoying that the only confirmed... I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the only confirmed LGBT character, especially a lesbian, that shows up throughout this entire anthology has the backstory that a bunch of men fucking gang raped her and almost killed her. That is aggravating. And not only that, the girl that she ends up fucking, like, almost seducing / being seduced by, it's like a mutual seduction going on, was a femme fatale turncoat thing. I know words and terms. That was just using her wiles to fuck. And, like, I want there to be characters that do that. I want there to be lesbian characters who have that background. I want there to be bisexual lesbian or pretending straight women, femme fatales. I want that to be able to exist, but again, this does not exist in a vacuum, and that is regularly the shit I see when it comes to these kinds of characters, and it is aggravating.
Yeah. Probably the thing which I hate most about a lot of tropes and problems in popular media these days is that there's a lot of ideas in there which either I like or I wish could be written, but as they stand in the current landscape, they are part of the problem, and thus they kind of can't / shouldn't.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I would happily say that there should be nothing off limits for the purposes of art and storytelling, but this is not an ideal world. Newsflash.
Yeah, just a bit. The monster designs were amazing, though, gotta say.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Carnivore in particular was just beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I got to see the concept art for her. I think it was somebody I follows the person who got to do the concept art for that. It's just cool. It's just a beautiful creature. And gives my little monster designing heart like palpitations. I even liked Turbo Raptor, even though the name was stupid. Like, I liked that design. That was a cool design.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems with the monsters. They were fucking cool. Although, well, I don't know. This may be me reading in too much to it.
Go on.
Okay, so this is like a whole thing, and it's kind of a cinematography thing. But start of the episode, we get Sonnie set up as a rape survivor. She gets out into the ring, and her opponent is a dude who you're going down, 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 except he doesn't just like lower a hand. He basically like mime grabs a head and like puts it towards his crotch. Kind of gross, but okay. Cartoon villains exist, I guess, and that's fine for short stories. And then throughout the course of the fight, it's just them fighting up until he Turbo Raptor stabs Carnivore. And then we get these shots from behind of the camera. You get to see all of the monsters pinned against the wall, but we see it from behind. We see Turbo Raptor, it looks weirdly sexual. It looks like he is pinned her against the wall with his dick. Even the wall grab on the side, didn't grab Carnivore, grabbed the wall. It just sort of adds to that feeling of that. It's that kind of visual, and it was like I can understand setting up oh, this is a rape survivor, and then she goes into the ring and has not an actual sexual assault, but a metaphorical visual representation of that, and then kills her attacker. I can understand why that might seem empowering, or she's gotten her revenge or something, but that would only really work if the guy who was piloting Turbo Raptor was one of the people who sexually assaulted her.
Instead of just
random fucko.
The hammiest asshole imaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may be reading too much into that, but it's as somebody who makes comics and stuff, it's the kind of thing I think about and I watch for a lot is cinematography in shit like TVs and movies. And that just that wasn't even subtle to me. It was I had this he stabs her and it's raw, and I had this moment of, oh no, what happened? And then they did the background shot and I went, oh. And it took me right out of the moment. I was just here it is. Here's the metaphor. Is she gonna get her revenge? And I was yeah, of course she's gonna fucking get her revenge. I'm just gonna sit here and have to fucking deal with this goddamn giant ogre monster licking the air at the better monster. That's great. I'm definitely here for this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I didn't I didn't pick that up immediately, but I'm a writer. I'm not a visual artist, so I'm a little slower on the uptake with that kind of thing. But when you put it like that, yeah, I can definitely see what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, neither of us are, like, professional critics either, so we just have our observations.
Yeah, but this is YouTube, where we're allowed to just spout out random bullshit.
Excellent. Great. I don't know that I have anything else to say about this episode, though.
Yeah. No, I mean... yeah, we've been speaking for roughly twice as long as the episode actually is. So, go team. Bottom line, final thoughts for me. Sonnie's Edge is a fantastic episode. Like I said, I think it's probably my second favorite. And you said it's in your top 5?
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely in my top 5. I don't like to label them like super hard. But out of all of them, it's definitely one of the best.
Yeah. It's got some lazy tropes and leans rather heavily on certain cliches and metaphors, which just like you didn't need this. Why are you doing this? But the visuals are fantastic. The protagonist is glorious. The ending is just so satisfying. A+. Just can we have stuff like this without the problems, please?
Yeah, or honestly, make the main character a guy. Like, make a story about a dude who was raped getting his revenge. That'd be rad. I'd be down for that. Men get raped. It happens. Like, fucking give them survivor stories. Because or maybe just handle your both. And handle your female survivor stories better, please. I would really appreciate it, personally.
It would be lovely. Much appreciated, folks.
Mm.
Alrighty. Next time, not sure how quickly I'm going to release these, but we'll see. Next time we'll be talking about 3 robots, which was a thing.
I think we're going to disagree about this one.
Sorry, what?
I think we're going to have arguments about 3 robots.
I don't know, I thought that we were agreeing when we vaguely discussed it at the time, but we shall see.
You fool.
Yes, the most foolish of fools.
Mm.
Anyway, folks, hopefully you've enjoyed this half-hour-ish ramble of complaints and commentary. As I said, we're going to be covering the entire series. And incidentally, if you do have a different ordering for your episodes, the episode order shown on the Wikipedia page is the one that we have.
I'm not kidding. We got basic bitch order?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
So that'll give you an idea of when to expect what. Otherwise, folks, as I said, hope you enjoy, and we shall see you next time.
Bye.